Choosing a camera for filmmaking. Resolution isn't the most important thing when choosing your camera. 1080p is still alright, but now that so many cameras are 4K, if you decide you want it, then you have a lot of options. Dynamic range is more important. The more dynamic range you have, the more detail you will have in your shadows and highlights. At least 10 stops is good, but I like to have at least 12. If the camera can record log, then that's a good sign it has a decent dynamic range. Recording format has a large influence on the image quality. A higher quality codec like ProRes HQ will give you better image quality and more detail, but it will mean you have larger file sizes. On the other hand, something like MP4 will give you a lower picture quality but also smaller file sizes. Essentially, you have to decide the amount of detail you want in the image compared to the size of the files the camera will create. It's worth looking at if the camera has clean HDMI out, because if it does, you can attach an external recorder and then you have access to higher quality recording codecs. Bit depth is how many different colors the camera can record. To put it simply, 8-bit is good enough and 10-bit is preferable. Similar to bit depth, chroma subsampling affects how your camera records colors. Again, to put it simply, 420 is good enough, 422 is pretty good, and 444 is very good. RAW gives you a lot of options for correcting your image in post. Settings such as white balance, ISO, and color management can all be changed, allowing for a lot of fine-tuning of your image. However, RAW creates massive files, so whatever recording media the camera uses, you'll need a lot of it. You'll also need lots of hard drives to store the RAW footage whilst you edit it. Not to mention that RAW workflows make post-production a lot more complicated. All cameras have different color management. Right now, Canon Arian Red have some of the best. The best way to decide what camera's color management you like the best is to watch a lot of footage from it. A camera with good low light performance can help you when shooting at night, or if you're indoors and won't be able to set up much lighting. How important slow motion is to you will depend on the kind of things that you shoot. If you shoot a lot of action scenes and sports, then a camera with good slow motion will be helpful, but getting a camera with at least 60 FPS slow motion is a good idea. Depending on what you're shooting, you may want a really small camera so you can be subtle and not noticed by lots of people, but you may want a big camera with lots of built-in features, such as XLR inputs, handles, and ND filters. Bear in mind that a bigger and heavier camera will mean you probably need a more expensive tripod. Finally, price. Your budget can play a big part in the camera that you choose. It's worth remembering that when you buy a camera, you may need some accessories such as lenses, batteries, and external media. If you found this video helpful and you'd like to see more videos in the future, then please consider subscribing.